The New York Jets have a special weapon that I want to break down in this video. It's time to give the special teams the credit that they deserve because we just saw today that the New York Jets punter, Austin McNamara, has been named the AFC Special Teams Player of the Month. And that is not the only award that has gone to the New York Jets special teams so far this season. What Chris Banjo has done with this unit in his first season as a coordinator in the NFL on the special team side of the ball has been masterful. Aaron Glenn, Chris Banjo, the entire coaching staff deserves all the credit in the world. And there's a lot of players on this special teams unit that deserves credit. Not just the punt team, not just the kicking team, not just the return team. Everything, kick coverage, punt coverage, the gunner. I mean, you can argue there could be 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers on this Jets team just on special teams alone. So we're going to break it down in this video. You guys let me know your thoughts about the Jets special teams unit because I have been enjoying this special teams. And I think that this is something that Jets fans should not just say, yeah, that's cool. We got a cool special teams. Like, this is a legit thing here that's building with the New York Jets because, in my opinion, special teams is one of those phases that if you can make that a consistent part of your football team and every single week you are playing special teams at its highest possible potential, that could help you win games. And we saw this year the Jets beat the Browns single-handedly because of their special teams. They went out there against the Falcons, handled business on special teams. Even earlier in the year, let's not forget, the Jets almost won the game against Tampa because of a special teams play of Will McDonald leaping over the line of scrimmage to block a field goal and return it for a touchdown. Unfortunately, our defense was unable to get the stop in the clutch, but we almost won a game because of special teams then. So there's so much I want to break down in this, and there's so many players that deserve their praise that I'm excited to hand out in this one. So make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Really excited to dive deep into this. And before we do, want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. If you guys want to go check them out, that link is in the description, folks. You guys can use the code JETS to get a 100% deposit match up to $100 to win up to 100x your money, and that is a fun thing you guys can do over there by using the code JETS. Big shout out to Sleeper. Now, getting into, first and foremost, the special teams coordinator, Chris Banjo. This guy looks like he can suit up and start playing football for the Jets right now, honestly. He just retired from the NFL a few years ago. He was a player under Aaron Glenn for the New Orleans Saints, so he deserves all the credit. He is preparing these players on special teams to go out there and be ready to execute at its highest level. So it all starts with Chris Banjo, and Aaron Glenn deserves a lot of credit for hiring him in the first place, 100%. Because the head coach is not just responsible for coaching the players on this football team, but it's about assembling a coaching staff and coaching up the coaching staff. So it all starts with Aaron Glenn, and then you have to evaluate the coordinators underneath him. And then, of course, all the guys underneath Chris Banjo, the coaching staff beneath him, deserve their credit. They're doing a heck of a job. Really, really cool thing. And before we get into individual players, there was a really cool story and a heartwarming story that I wanted to start off with as well. As you guys know, there was some devastating news a few weeks ago. Chris Boyd, the New York Jets defensive back, who was supposed to be the special teams ace, honestly, this season, who has been on injured reserve all season long, he suffered a really devastating injury and was shot brutally in Manhattan. And he has been in the hospital, in and out, recovering for his life. Luckily, it seems like he's, on a good trajectory. But he surprised the Jets this week at the facility and ran a special teams meeting. And after the meeting, he was like, all the players were so happy to see him. And it just goes to show you the type of culture and the type of camaraderie they have in this building. And for Chris Boyd to go out of his way, who's recovering from being shot in the stomach. I'm pretty sure he has some lung issues and they had surgery. So luckily he's having a speedy recovery. Nothing but love being sent over to Chris Boyd and his family. And the fact that he went out of his way to go to a special teams meeting, that lighted up the entire locker room, of course, so that's cool. And you can only imagine how much better the special teams could be if he was healthy, because the Jets signed him in free agency to be the special teams guy, but of course, he's been injured all season long, so that's a little cool story I wanted to start off with. So the guy that we have to break down first and foremost, of course, Austin McNamara, the punter. He just won AFC Punter of the Month. In 20 of his punts, 11 of them was pinned inside the 20-yard line, averaging like 46 or so yards, per punt. The guy is an absolute stud. undrafted free agent, was with Cincinnati last year, but the Jets brought him in this year to compete for that spot, and he took it and ran with it. And this is a big deal. I know a lot of people don't really value punters. You should, because we had Thomas Morstead the last few years, who was a veteran, who we all loved. And remember when the Jets cut him, people were like, why would you cut Morstead? He knows what he's doing. But no, Muji in his scouting department deserves credit for recognizing the talent of Austin McNamara, and now he's here pinning the teams back. And the reason why having a good punter is important is because this is the sport of field position. It's not just about scoring touchdowns. It's if you can win field position, that's everything in this league, because obviously we don't want to punt the ball a lot, right? You can look at punting as a negative because you don't get a first down on third down, it's fourth down, and you basically have a failed offensive possession. But if you have a good punter and you can pin them deep inside their own 20-yard line consistently, that flips the field. Then if you get a stop on defense and then they punt it to the Jets and then we have a good return, all of a sudden you went from punting the ball at your own 20 to getting the ball back at midfield, right? If that makes sense in your brain, field position is everything. So that's great to see our punter, who's an undrafted free agent, come out here and be an absolute stud and be arguably could be a Pro Bowler for the New York Jets. So Austin McNamara, shout out to you. And another guy who deserves credit, who's on the punt team, Quantez Stiggers, the Jets gunner. He's the guy who recovered the punt that was fumbled from the Atlanta Falcons, and then the Jets punched it in with a touchdown from Breece Hall in the very next play. Quantez Stiggers, you could argue, could be a Pro Bowler. If you guys want to go vote for him, you should, because he has been an absolute stud on the Jets special teams, the gunner. He's made a bunch of plays on punt coverage, kick coverage. If you don't know what the gunner position is all about, it's basically the guy that is supposed to tackle the guy in punt coverage and, of course, in kick coverage, and he's been fantastic. Without that line of defense, there could be a lot of kicks being returned and punts returned, but no, Quantez Stiggers has been a big piece of this special teams unit, and Chris Banjo has been coaching him up, and he's given him a lot of credit. Aaron Glenn loves everything about Quantez, and when we drafted him, I didn't really think he'd be a big special teams ace like he is, and I think with the injury to both Irv Charles and Chris Boyd, that's opened up the opportunity for Quantez to really become the main gunner of this team. There's a lot of other guys on the roster that's, filling in the gunner role. I've seen Isaiah Davis make some big plays. A lot of other guys on special teams deserve credit from the punt and the kick coverage standpoint. Now, of course, you got to shout out the OG Nick Folk. Yeah, he had a missed field goal. By the way, it was his first field goal he missed all season long. I'm not going to really kill him for that because he bounced back and had his game winner 56-yard field goal for the win. Nick Folk has been perfect this season. He got the game ball after the game. Shout out to Nick Folk, man. It's cool to have him back with the Jets. When we brought him in the summer, it was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. This is great to have our guy back. If you guys did not know, he was a teammate of Aaron Glenn back in 2008, which is wild to hear that. But shout out to Nick Folk. And then, of course, you got to give the two kick and punt returners, Kene Nwangu and Isaiah Williams, the credit they deserve. They both have AFC Special Teams Player of the Week awards themselves. Kene Nwangu, in his first game back from injury, he won that award when he housed one. Kene Nwangu's been battling with a lot of injuries as of late, so really cool to see Kene. And remember, his first game as a Jet last year against the Seahawks had a return for a touchdown. I'm pretty sure he was an all-pro special teams player for Minnesota. So this is a guy that is all about special teams, and the Jets brought him in last year. And this coaching staff and this regime has bought into him and really trying to make him their guy. Now, another guy the Jets brought in themselves is Isaiah Williams. And this is a guy that I love the story behind because Xavier Gipson was the guy week one. We all know what happened. He fumbles in, the opener, and you can argue that really lost the Jets the game. He gets waived. Good decision because Xavier Gipson is on the Eagles doing the same thing. And then they bring in Isaiah Williams from Cincinnati. And in his first game, he had an absolute stinker, fumbling and having a fair catch at the 2-yard line. And right away, every Jets fan's like, cut this guy. He stinks. And the Jets did. They waived him after the game. But what they did do is re-sign him to the practice squad. And Kene Nwangu got hurt, so it gave him another opportunity. And he took that second chance, and he's ran with it. He has not looked back. Isaiah Williams, he had the kick return that set up the Jets for points against the Falcons. He won AFC Player of the Week at some point this season on special teams as well. So the fact that the Jets have two guys that have won AFC Special Teams Player of the Week on returns, and then you throw in Quantez Stiggers, you can say we have 5 Pro Bowlers. Now, they're not all going to make it. I think that you can argue there could be 1 or 2 of the guys that make it, but I also saw a crazy stat that on EPA, the Jets have like the highest EPA on any special teams unit in NFL history in the first 12 games of the season. Like, this is historic stuff here. And the last thing I want to wrap it up is this, folks. The reason why special teams is so important is because if that unit continues to play this level every single game, and when the Jets hopefully get consistent on defense and offense, like, let's not forget what the dynasty of the New England Patriots was under Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Their special teams was a focus, and they proved they can win games that way. If the Jets can start playing this level of special teams every single game moving forward, not just this season, but next season, of course, and the Jets hopefully can get a consistent offense and defense, that really levels things up, because you can rely on your special teams always to get a good return or win the field battle, and it levels up the defense. It levels up the offense. So that's how I look at it. If you're a Jets fan, you should not just like wave over the special teams and be like, it's no big deal, man. I'm focused on offense more than anything. Like, no. All three phases of the ball is really important. And if you guys watched Aaron Glenn after the game, his post-game speech in the locker room, he said offense, special teams. And he, like, when he said special teams, bro, he screamed it with passion. Like, you can tell how much special teams means to this Jets head coach. He's really preaching it to his guys. And I don't know, man. I understand the Jets are 3-9 and the vibes are low in terms of we're not making no playoffs. But these last 5 games, I always felt like when the Jets get their first win, there's going to be a breakthrough. And I feel like we're experiencing it right now with this Jets football team. 3-2 the last 5 games. We'll see if they can beat the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. I will be at that game. If you guys want to come to the game with me, I have really cheap $100 tickets. If you guys are interested, I'll put the link in the description. If you want to come, comes with field access and tailgate party, $100. I mean, you can't beat it, and you'll be seated with me and TD Finstalk, AFC East Roundtable event. So let me know if you guys want to come through to that. But exciting stuff here with the special teams unit, and I felt like this unit deserves an entire video dedicated to them. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm out of here, folks. Let's go, Jets, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.